Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Razvan. I'm working for the UIPath team for about 5 years from now. And currently I'm leading the pre-sales team in UIPath. Today, um, this is the agenda. I would like to talk about the RPA market and what is the what UiPath actually it's doing in this area. Also, what is our product overview and what direction are we heading with our product in terms of software robots and artificial intelligence, and how these two things can work together. Um, so first of all, how many of you are familiar with this term, software robot? Okay, so we have some awareness in the room today. And how many of you had the chance to use our software? Okay, so we have some. Did you develop your own robots, like or have you used the academy? Yeah? Just the academy. Okay, good. So just to be on the same page, software robots are like a digital, let's say, agent that is helping us to get rid of these repetitive tasks that we need to do on a daily basis. So basically, it's more like an extension of the knowledge workers, the people from, let's say, finance, procurement, HR, and so on, that in their daily tasks, they are taking some data from one place, from an invoice, putting in another system, copy-pasting data, taking, let's say, repetitive decisions. All this work can be automated with software robots. And this is, here you can see few benefits. So RPA is a non-invasive technology which sits on top of your infrastructure. You don't need to change anything in your legacy systems. So for instance, if you are using, let's say, Outlook, SAP, and other 2 or 3 systems, you don't need to change anything. Basically, the robot will manipulate all these systems via the user interface or APIs or any other circumstances to do whatever it's trained to perform. So this will, while the software robots are processing your transactions, they are generating logs, so you have really good insights about what the digital workforce it's doing. And besides that, once you automate one task, let's say you have a P2P process to pay some invoices to a couple of vendors, and at the end of the month, if you have 10 times more invoices, you can scale instantly by deploying new robots on other VMs, so you have the full scalability and the flexibility with RPA. So in the end, it's a better experience for the employees that are working alongside with software robots, and also for the end customers. Now, a few words about UiPath. UiPath is a company that have been established in 2005. Back then, the company developed an automation library which have been sold to technology companies or other outsourcing companies that at the time integrate that library to different products. So the development was a continuous development of that library for about 7 years, but that didn't brought a huge success to the company at that point. So the whole strategy changed. So they decided to create the first, let's say, product on top of that library, with a visual interface, with recording functionality, with different wizards. So the market was really happy to have such a product, and at that point in 2013, when the product was launched, many investors were very happy to see that, and it started getting a lot of attention. And 2 years after, we launched the UiPath Orchestrator, which is a server I'm going to show you in a few seconds. So that control room enables you to control all the digital workforce and to have an end-to-end platform for deploying, monitoring, and so on, which was exactly what the market was looking for. So currently we have more than 3,000 employees. That was happening just in 3 years. So the company have been established in Bucharest. We still doing over there product development. Product development also happens in Seattle and in Bangalore. We moved the headquarters in Manhattan, New York City. And we have a global presence to help our customers and our partners to scale. And we are proud to say that we have been named by Gartner last year, this year as well, as a leader in this area, in this market. So how the platform looks like? Actually, it's we have 3 base components: UiPath Studio, UiPath Orchestrator, and UiPath Robot. So, in UiPath Studio, you have built-in more than 300 built-in activities such as click, type, as I said, recorders to record your steps, and then just click play, and your automation is it comes to life, basically. Once the magic is done in the UiPath Studio by the RPA developer, there is a button over there, click publish, and the code is going to be deployed in the control center in UiPath Orchestrator, which is a server-based application, can be hosted in on-prem or in cloud. And this allows us to execute the automation flow developed by the RPA developers on 1 robot or 1,000 robots. You can have analytics over there. You have a repository of assets like credentials, transactions stored in queues. So basically, if you have 1,000 transactions that needs to be performed by 5 robots, the robots are getting the transactions from the same queue, and you have the outcome displayed over there, what is the status for each work item, and so on and so forth. Then, from a robot perspective, so this is the one that is in charge to execute the automation script. The robot can be unattended and attended. This is more like a licensing perspective. So the unattended robot is meant to be on a server without human interaction. It's working 24/7. Can be scheduled from the UiPath Orchestrator. So for instance, if you have a process, let's say during the morning for finance team, you can schedule that one from between 9 and 10. And then after that, when all the transactions have been completed, the robot can pick up another process and according to the schedule and execute it. So basically, these robots are interacting with any type of systems. I'm going to show you in few demos after that. So the let's say the input for the unattended robot can be in various sources, can be Excel files, databases, I don't know, from emails from an Exchange server, all type of inputs. And the attended robot, it's a robot that is working on side by side with me on my laptop. It's my digital assistant. So whenever I need to perform a repetitive task, I can kindly ask the robot to do it for me. And I can read the news, the emails, I don't know, in the meantime. So as a use case for attended automation, let's consider a call center scenario. I am the call center agent and I'm talking with a customer on the phone. So in case, let's say, the customer provides me some basic details, I don't know, the passport number, his name, and in the meantime, I can focus on the conversation and I can pass that information to the robot. The robot will log in 2, 3 systems, bring me some data about the customer and do some changes over there. So I can focus on the conversation without putting that person on hold to do that. Okay, excuse me for a second, I need to do this and that manually. And then come back. So in the end, I will have a shorter conversation, a greater productivity in the end of the day, and I don't need to do all the manual stuff, and the company don't need to change the whole legacy systems because this is very, very expensive. So as a company, our vision is to deliver AI through our robots. How we can do that? Our engineering team is embedding some of these features in the robot functionality in order to have a human-like digital assistant, and a system that is not like just a piece of software, is able to recognize the UI elements from the screen, like a pop-up message, an error, something like that that can occur during the process, can take decisions not based on if-else, but decisions based on historical data using machine learning algorithms. So this is much easier also for the RPA developer, because you don't need to talk to the subject matter experts during the development. Okay, so if I have this amount in invoice, I need to do this. If I have this amount, I have to do that. So these decisions can be adapted using historical data and machine learning to, let's say, have the robots taking very good decisions. Also, language-oriented skills like analyzing a piece of text from emails to understand and categorize if that email is a positive feedback, negative feedback, is that related to, I don't know, a customer that is very important and should be prioritized. So all type of activities can be performed right now. So according to Forrester, the AI opportunity in the automation market is huge. It's $48 billion. And until last year, only 4% have been covered. So our engineering team embedded some of these AI skills in the robot. So if you download our community edition, some of them are in the beta feed, some of them are in the regular one for MSI. So what are these skills? So skills that helping the partner or customers to, for instance, understand what process needs to be automated. So process understanding, process discovery, analyze the pattern during the day and say, okay, this part can be automated, this part is not very rule-based, so we can work a bit on the with a business analyst to create a better process. As mentioned earlier, conversational understanding, sentiment sentiment and voice inputs from different sources. Many business process contains requires document understanding using OCR. So from my experience in many implementations, I saw processes that are starting with a scan invoice, a receipt, either if it's in a share folder or in an email attachment. So the robot need to extract some information from that receipt and do something with that data. So if you have different vendors, you need to create templates for each vendor, but with machine learning, you can extract most of the data from invoices. So this solution is already embedded. Let's look together upon this video of how document processing works with machine learning.
Hi, I'm Victor Batista, a pre-sales engineer with UiPath, and today we're going to see receipt and invoice artificial intelligence inside of UiPath Studio. Perhaps the most important part about invoices and receipt data extraction is that they often change. So how do we create a flexible and robust solution? Well, we're going to use the receipt and invoice AI capabilities inside of UiPath Studio to extract data from an invoice and input it into SAP. The first step is a taxonomy manager. The taxonomy manager allows us to classify documents and define the business outcomes of these specific document types. After that, we're going to go ahead and take the file, whether it's an image or a PDF, and translate it into a digital document that the computer can understand using any OCR engine. After the computer understands the document, we're going to go ahead and classify into one of the document types that we saw earlier. And the importance of this is that now we know exactly what document we're dealing with. We can go ahead and use data extraction scope. And we're going to extract that information using activities that our amazing UiPath data science team has created for us. And it's just as easy as dragging and dropping and selecting what type of document you're going to be extracting from. And we can also decide how the machine learning data extraction will be presented by utilizing the labeled fields from the machine learning model on the right side and putting them into the fields of the document type that we described earlier on the left side. And remember, it doesn't matter where these label fields are on the page, the machine learning model will be able to find it. And let's say that data extraction comes back with a low confidence score, we can add a human in the loop for a perfect example of attended automation, and they can improve the results of those extractions. After improving those results, we can also use that information to improve how we classify documents and train our document classification. Now that we have seen these activities, let's see how they actually work together. We're going to kick off the process, and it's going to start by logging into SAP. And this is basically from a process we have already created. We're going to load the document types, then start processing one of the invoices, digitizing the document using an OCR engine, classifying it. In this case, it's going to be invoice, also extracting the data using our own machine learning models. Now, what you see in here is how UiPath model interprets all the information in the invoice. And the awesome part is that, for example, if something is mismatching, we can just basically highlight it, go back into that field, and reconfigure it. So this is an amazing feature for attended automation. The second part that I want to point out is that the field called quantity is defined differently in the validation station and in the document. That's because UiPath uses deep learning technology in order to find the information, so it does not rely on fixed rules or positioning anywhere in the document. Once the validation station has been completed, we're going to use that information to improve the data document classification. Once that information is all extracted, it's going to go right back into SAP or any other process. And that really pushes the boundaries of RPA by using deep learning technology for receipts and invoices. This is the end of the.
So, however, there are times when a customer needs some technology partners more prepared in specific domains. So, for instance, for some type of automations, maybe you need a chatbot solution. So you can take one of the connectors from our marketplace and use a chatbot technology like Dialogflow from Google, Core AI, or if you want to have analytics in another platform, then UiPath Orchestrator, you can use, I don't know, Power BI, Tableau, and so on. So let's see another short video regarding a finance, a banking use case. by having a chatbot solution and a machine learning platform called Data Robot. Let's take a look.
There will be many use cases for UiPath's and data robots' combined capabilities, but these use cases can be generalized by this diagram. First, UiPath robots can collect data from any system or user interface, consolidate the data, and pass it to Data Robot. Then, Data Robot will have a trained machine learning model to make a prediction on this data. And finally, UiPath robots will perform an action based on the output of this prediction and can then pass or store the output into any system or user interface, thus completing the loop. Alex is looking for a personal loan. He's logged into his bank's website and navigates to the personal loans page. He discovers that he can interact with a chatbot to see what sort of loan he can get. Alex doesn't have to wait to talk to a sales agent. He can talk immediately to the chatbot and get a quote for a loan based on the information he provides and the information a bank already has in its customer databases. As you can see, Alex was able to get a quote within less than a minute, while a bank gave Alex an interest rate that reflects the risk of him defaulting. We were able to build this solution without any complicated technical implementation. This is how we did it. We built a simple chatbot within Dialogflow using intents and entities to interact with a customer. We extract the loan amount variable for the user and pass it to our pre-configured instance of Node-RED, and then onto Orchestrator, which puts the request in a queue while the response is stored as an asset. Our UiPath robot takes this value and Alex's information from a bank's customer database via its banking terminal emulator and consolidates them into a single CSV to pass to the Data Robot model. Here we can see the data collection and structuring before passing the data to the Data Robot API. The UiPath robot will use this prediction and decide if we should offer Alex a loan, and if so, what interest rate to give him. Meanwhile, the UiPath robot has also populated Salesforce to ensure we have a record of this inquiry. Finally, we will show you how we trained and deployed our machine learning model in Data Robot. To train this model in Data Robot, we took our dataset that includes all the features we believe are important to predict the likelihood of a customer defaulting on their loans. We upload the CSV into Data Robot, and Data Robot automatically conducts feature engineering and feature selection. We can then automatically train the data on over 50 of the best open source machine learning algorithms. We choose our model, and then we deploy it.
So, so far we spoke about embedded skills developed by engineering team from UiPath. We spoke about technology partners from our marketplace that can solve specific needs. But what if this is not enough? So we developed a different product called the AI Fabric, which is basically embedded in UiPath Orchestrator. You just log in into the UiPath Orchestrator, and AI Fabric can be found in the left-hand side, machine learning skills. So within a company, you can have a data scientist that is analyzing the data, creating some models, for instance, email body classification type of model based on some specific needs from the company. You need here to specify a few details about how the model works, what type of input are you using, what is the outcome, the language, if you use like Python 3 or 2, and then just click upload, the model will be deployed, and we will achieve with that a drag and drop functionality to apply AI on any business process. So while the RPA developer is working to a specific automation, we'll see the repository of machine learning skills developed within a company, and can use them in UiPath Studio with a simple drag and drop. let's take a look over here. So it's opening the project. This is the workflow. As I told you, it's very visual. You have the activities in this part of the screen, and all you need to do is just drag and drop the activities over here. By refreshing, we'll see over there another email classifier skill, which can be used during the automation, right? So this is the first version of AI Fabric. It's gonna be available soon on our cloud environment, which is free of charge. You can play around with that. Currently, we have seamless model upload. You have drag and drop functionality in UiPath Studio, great analytics, and to make this loop more comprehensive in the future roadmap, we will include also automatic model improvements based on what robots process so far. So if they process tons of, let's say, emails, in this case, they will improve the model automatically. Currently, the model needs to be uploaded by a new version of the model needs to be uploaded by the data scientist in UiPath Orchestrator to have a new release, right? So if we still have time, I would like to showcase you an example of computer vision and what is the purpose of computer vision. So think about BPO companies that are let's say automating tasks on a virtual machine on Citrix. So you don't have the permission to install some of any piece of software over there. But with our new computer vision feature, you can identify UI elements exactly as you can do in your personal environment. So let's take a look how this feature works. So we have this dummy application over here. With the recorder feature, so far, if you're trying to automate an application that is hosted on your machine or in your web browser, click record. The elements can be easily identified. Let's click accept, exit, and save my automation. So this will generate a script with these steps. Of course, for a much complex, let's say, use case, I need to add some iteration loop or an input data to be added in that application. But so far, if I run this, the robot will do whatever was trained to do with the same data, because I just hard-coded the input over here. So this is nice, but still, if you have a virtualized application, this is not applicable. So I'm gonna disable this and enable this computer vision feature. So the computer vision is in the packages. You just need to install the computer vision package, and let's go to Google and find an image. Okay, this one it's good. So this is just an image. All I need to do is indicate this to the computer vision activity. As you can see, nothing can be identified within an image. Is detecting the elements with a machine learning model, and then when I'm trying to click on an element, here you go. You have accessibility to each element in an image, because the robot is smart enough to identify which is a button, which is an editable field, which is a checkbox, and can do a big difference in BPOs and in the remote, let's say, automations. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much for having me today, and I will be outside having a coffee with you and having the Q&A session, because I think we are out of time right now. Thank you so much.